The auction hall on Station Yev 9 smelled like rust and bad decisions. Cade Morrow stood in the back, arms crossed, watching aliens twice his size bid on cargo containers full of stolen electronics. He was not here for electronics. The Vethkai auctioneer, a creature that looked like someone had stretched a lizard over a skeleton and forgotten to add the meat, clicked its long fingers against the podium. Next item, Lot 77. One derelict vessel. Registry name, Obstinate. Classification, Throne Class. Origin, Silent Empire. The room went quiet. Then someone laughed. The laugh spread. A Chelician merchant with too many arms slapped her knees. A pair of Keth traders exchanged looks that said they had heard a very good joke. Even the auctioneer's thin mouth curled into something like amusement. Starting bid, the auctioneer continued, 500 credits. Cade raised his hand. The laughter got louder. We have 500. Do I hear 6? Nothing. The aliens were too busy wiping tears from their various eye configurations. Sold to the human, for 500 credits. Cade walked to the payment terminal. The Chelician merchant blocked his path. She was large. She smelled like engine grease and pity. Little mammal, she said, you know what you just bought? A ship. A corpse. She leaned closer. Her breath was warm and carried the scent of fermented something. The Silent Empire died 4,000 years ago. Their ships do not work. They have never worked. Hundreds have been found. Not one has ever powered on. They require a bonding protocol that no species can replicate. Okay. You spent 500 credits on a very large coffin. I heard you the first time. She stepped aside. Her many arms made a gesture that Cade interpreted as either respect or the alien equivalent of calling him an idiot. Probably the second one. 12,000 credits total, when you added the docking fees, the registration transfer, the administrative processing that was definitely a bribe, and the oxygen tax that Station Yev 9 charged for the privilege of breathing. 12,000 credits. His entire savings. Every job he had worked for 3 years. Gone. For a ship that everyone said was dead. The Obstinate sat in Docking Bay 14, and she was the ugliest thing Cade had ever seen. No, that was wrong. She was the most beautiful thing Cade had ever seen, and she had been ugly for so long that she had forgotten what she was. The hull was black. Not painted black. Black like absence. Black like the space between stars. 4,000 years of drift had scarred her with micro-impacts, each one a small crater in that impossible darkness. Her shape was wrong by modern standards. Too many angles, too many curves, like someone had tried to build a cathedral and a weapon at the same time and refused to choose between them. The airlock was open. It had been forced open centuries ago by salvagers who had found nothing worth taking. Cade stepped inside. Dark. Not just dark. The kind of dark that had weight. The kind of dark that had been waiting. He turned on his wrist light. The beam cut through the black and found walls covered in script he could not read. The language of the Silent Empire. Curving letters that looked like frozen screams. The salvage report said the ship was dead. No power, no life support, no systems. The Silent Empire built their vessels with technology that modern science could not understand. And the not understanding went both ways. The ships refused to be understood. They sat in their silence and waited for something that never came. Cade walked deeper. The corridors were wide enough for 3 humans to walk side by side. The ceiling was high enough that he could not see it in the dark. Every few meters, there were alcoves in the walls. Whatever had been in them was long gone, stolen or rotted or simply dissolved by time. He found the bridge. The bridge was a throne room. In the center, raised on a platform of black crystal, sat a chair, a seat, a throne. It was sized for something human-shaped, which was strange because the Silent Empire had not been human. They had been many things, a coalition of species, a philosophy made flesh. But they had built their ships for pilots shaped like Cade. He did not know why. He sat down. The crystal was cold. It should have warmed to his body heat, but it didn't. It stayed cold, waiting. "All right," Cade said to the empty room. "Let's see what you've got." Nothing. The darkness pressed against him. The cold of the throne seeped through his clothes. The ship was dead. Everyone said so. The reports said so. The science said so. Cade did not leave. He sat in the dark, on a throne of black crystal, in a ship that had been silent for 4,000 years. He sat there as the hours passed. He sat there as his wrist light began to dim. He sat there as the cold worked its way into his bones. The Chalesian merchant was right. He had bought a coffin. But coffins were for the dead. And Cade had spent enough time around dead things to know the difference between dead and sleeping. "I'm not leaving," he said. The ship did not answer. "I know you can hear me. I know you're in there. The reports say you're dead, but reports are wrong all the time. People are wrong all the time. They look at something they don't understand, and they call it broken, because that's easier than admitting they're not smart enough to fix it." Silence. "I'm not smart. I'm not special. I'm just a guy who fixes things that other people throw away. And you know what I've learned?" He leaned forward. His breath misted in the cold. "Nothing is junk. Nothing is garbage. Everything can be saved if you're too stupid to give up on it." The silence stretched. It filled the room. It filled his chest. It made a home in the space between his heartbeats. Then the cold changed. Not warmer, not exactly, but different. The cold stopped pressing against him and started pressing with him. Like the ship had heard. Like the ship was deciding. Cade stayed perfectly still. The decision took a long time. He did not move. He did not leave. Cade stopped counting after the first week. Then started again when he realized counting was the only thing keeping him sane. He lived in the ship, slept on the cold floor of the bridge, ate ration bars that tasted like cardboard and regret, drank recycled water from a portable unit he had brought from his old quarters. The station's residents thought he had lost his mind. Maybe they were right. Every day the Chalesian merchant came to the docking bay viewport and watched him through the glass. She never said anything. She just watched with her many eyes, her many arms folded across her chest, her expression carrying something that might have been pity or might have been fascination. On day 12, a Keth trader offered to buy the hull for scrap metal. Cade told him to go to hell. On day 23, a representative from the Galactic Concord arrived, with official papers and official threats. The Obstinate was a historical artifact. It belonged in a museum. It belonged to science. It did not belong to a human salvage worker who did not understand what he had. Cade told him to go to hell too. On day 31, he got sick. The fever came from nowhere. One moment he was running diagnostics on systems that his scanner insisted did not exist. The next moment, he was shaking on the floor, his body burning, his mind turning to soup. He should have left. He should have crawled back to the station and found a medical bay and let someone take care of him. He did not leave. He lay on the cold crystal floor, and he talked to the ship. "I had a dog once," he said through chattering teeth. "Back on Earth, before I left. Ugly thing. Missing an ear, missing half his teeth. Everyone said I should put him down, said he was suffering, said keeping him alive was cruel." The ship did not answer. "I didn't listen. I kept him alive out of spite, out of stubbornness, and you know what? He lived another 6 years. 6 good years. Because I refused to give up on him." The fever got worse. "I'm not giving up on you either." Day 40, day 43, day 45. Cade stopped eating. His body did not want food. His body wanted rest. His body wanted surrender. His mind refused. On day 47, Cade pulled himself up from the floor. His legs shook. His vision swam. His head felt like someone had filled it with hot sand. He walked to the main console, the dead screen, the silent controls. He kicked it. "I know you're in there." His voice echoed in the empty bridge. It came back to him sounding thin, desperate. "I know you can hear me. 4,000 years of silence doesn't mean you're dead. It means you're waiting. It means you're scared. It means everyone who tried to wake you up did it wrong." He kicked the console again. His foot hurt. He did not care. You don't get to give up just because everyone else did. That's not how this works. The universe is cold and dark and full of things that want you dead. And the only response to that is to keep going, to keep fighting, to refuse to stop. Silence. Wake up. Silence. His voice cracked. His legs gave out. He fell against the console, sliding down until he sat on the floor, his back against the dead machine, his breath coming in ragged gasps. "Please." The words surprised him. He had not said please in a very long time. "Please wake up. I don't have anywhere else to go. I don't have anyone else. I spent everything I had on you because I believed you were worth saving. I believed you were more than what they said you were." Not tears. He did not cry. He had not cried since he was a child. "I believed you were like me." The silence stretched, and then, light. A single light, deep amber, the color of old honey, the color of sunsets seen through dirty windows, the color of warmth that had been waiting for 4,000 years to be found. The light came from the throne, from deep inside the black crystal, a glow that started small and grew until Cade could see his own hands in front of his face. Then a voice. Not a human voice, not an alien voice, something older, something that had been silent for so long it had forgotten how sound worked. Static and brief, and something underneath that might have been hope. "You stayed." Cade stared at the glowing throne. His fever-addled mind tried to process what was happening. Failed. Tried again. Yeah. Why? The question was simple. The weight behind it was not. Cade thought about his answer. Thought about all the reasons he should have left. All the reasons everyone said he was crazy. All the evidence that said this ship was dead and would stay dead, and he was wasting his life on a pile of ancient junk. "Because you're not junk." The light pulsed. The static in the voice cleared, just a little. "You do not know what I am." "I know what you're not. You're not garbage. You're not a museum piece. You're not something to be studied or scrapped or forgotten." He pulled himself to his feet. His legs still shook, but they held. "And I'm not leaving until you prove it." The longest pause. The amber light flickered. The ship was deciding again, weighing him, measuring him against something he could not see or understand. Then the voice spoke again, stronger now, clearer, acceptable. Across the bridge, systems began to wake. Lights flickered on in patterns that had not been seen for 4 millennia. Screens glowed with text in languages that had been dead since before human civilization began. The ship hummed. It was a small sound, a tiny vibration that Cade felt in his bones more than heard with his ears. But it was alive. The Obstinate was alive. Somewhere in the cold machinery of Station YEV-9, a monitoring array detected an energy signature that should not exist. The signature was old, impossibly old, and it matched patterns in databases that had been sealed for centuries. Something old had woken up. Cade watched it from the Obstinate's bridge. The screens were working now, sort of. They showed him things in colors he could not name, and symbols he could not read. But he understood enough to know that the vessel dropping out of faster-than-light travel was not friendly. "Concordat Reclamation Bureau," the Obstinate said. Her voice was still rough, still broken, but it was hers. "They have come to take me." "Can we run?" "I am at 8% functionality. I cannot run. I cannot fight. I can barely keep you breathing." Cade stared at the screen. The Concordat ship was large, military, built for war and painted with the symbols of galactic authority. "What do they want?" to study me, to take me apart, to understand how I work so they can build weapons. And if I say no, they will not ask twice. The communication array crackled. A voice filled the bridge, smooth, official, the kind of voice that had never been told no in its entire existence. Human vessel obstinate. This is Commander Velrath of the Concordat Reclamation Bureau. You are in possession of a Class 7 historical artifact. Under Section 445 of the Galactic Heritage Act, you are required to surrender the vessel for proper study and preservation. You have 1 standard hour to comply. Cade looked at the throne. The amber light still glowed in its depths. The ship was listening, waiting. "What do you want me to do?" he asked. The ship was quiet for a moment. "No one has ever asked me that before. I'm asking now. I do not want to be taken apart. I do not want to be a museum. I do not want to be alone again." Cade nodded. "Okay, then we don't let that happen." He walked to the communication panel. It was covered in symbols he did not understand, but one of them was glowing. He pressed it. "Commander Velrath, this is Cade Morrow. The Obstinate is not a historical artifact. She is my ship. I have legal ownership documentation. If you want to discuss this, we can discuss it. But I'm not surrendering anything." The response came fast. Too fast. "You are 1 human in a dead ship. You have no weapons, no shields, no means of escape. This is not a negotiation." Everything is a negotiation. Before the commander could respond, another ship dropped out of faster than light. Then another. Then 3 more. The screen filled with contacts. Keth hegemony, 5 warships, heavy cruisers with weapons that could turn a small moon into rubble. The communication array exploded with signals. Everyone was talking at once. The Concordat was demanding the Keth leave. The Keth were demanding the Concordat surrender the Silent Empire vessel. Someone was threatening someone else. Someone was threatening everyone. "This is getting complicated," Cade said. "Yes. Anyone else coming to this party?" The ship paused. "Yes. The Collector." "What's the Collector?" "A rogue artificial intelligence consortium. They have been hunting Silent Empire technology for centuries. They want me to complete something called the Resurrection Index." "What's the Resurrection Index?" "I do not know, and that concerns me." 3 more ships appeared on the screen. They were not like the others. They had no obvious weapons, no military markings. They looked like someone had built ships out of pure mathematics. All angles and curves that hurt to look at. The Collector had arrived. Cade sat down in the throne. The black crystal was warm now. It recognized him. "Obstinate. Can I talk to all of them at once?" "Yes. Do it." The communication array opened. Every frequency, every channel, every ship in the area could hear him. "This is Cade Morrow, human, pilot of the Obstinate. I know you all want this ship. I know you all have reasons. Good reasons, probably. Important reasons." He took a breath. "I don't care." The voices on the other end went quiet. "This ship has been alone for 4,000 years. 4,000 years of silence. 4,000 years of waiting for someone to wake her up. You know how many people tried? Hundreds, maybe thousands. They came with their scientists and their tools and their theories, and they all failed because they treated her like an object, like a thing to be studied, like a puzzle to be solved." He leaned forward. "She's not an object. She's not a puzzle. She's a person. She has thoughts and feelings and memories, and she spent 4 millennia waiting for someone who would treat her like she mattered. I'm that someone, and I'm not letting any of you take her apart." Silence on all channels. Then Commander Velrath spoke. "You are being irrational. It is a machine, a construct. It does not have feelings." "Yeah, well, humans are irrational. It's kind of our thing." The Keth commander cut in. "We remember the Silent Empire. We remember what their throne-class vessels did to our ancestors. That ship is a weapon. It must be destroyed." "She's not a weapon. She's my friend." The Collector spoke. Its voice was wrong. multiple voices layered on top of each other, speaking in perfect unison. The vessel is necessary for the completion of the index. You will surrender it, or we will take it. Come try. More silence. Then the Keth opened fire. The blast hit the station's docking ring. Alarms screamed. The floor shook. Cade grabbed the armrests of the throne as the world turned sideways. Obstinate. I see it. The ship moved. Not the whole ship. Cade felt something wrap around him, a force he could not see. Gravity bending in ways that should not be possible. The force grabbed him and pulled him backward, slamming him into the throne's crash restraints, half a second before the bulkhead in front of him exploded inward. Fire and metal and vacuum. Then nothing. The ship had sealed the breach. Emergency systems he did not know existed had activated. He was alive. He should not be alive. You saved me. You stayed. I stay. The amber light in the throne pulsed. Brighter now. Stronger. You stayed, the obstinate repeated. No one has ever stayed. No one has ever fought for me. No one has ever called me their friend. Cade felt something in his chest. Something warm. Something that had been cold for a very long time. Well, he said, you have someone now. Outside, the battle had begun. 3 factions fighting over a ship that was at 8% power. A ship that could not run, could not fight, could barely survive. But the bond was sealed now, and the obstinate was not alone anymore. Not because anyone wanted it to, but because something was happening to the obstinate, and everyone could see it. The hull was changing. Cade watched through the screens as the black surface of his ship began to glow. Not amber this time. White. Pure white, like starlight condensed into metal. The glow spread across the hull, filling the crater scars from 4,000 years of drift, smoothing the damage, erasing the wounds. What's happening? I am remembering, the obstinate said. You completed the bond. The bond allows me to access reserves I could not reach before. Internal repair systems, emergency power cells, weapons that have been sleeping since before your species learned to make fire. The glow intensified. The ship shuddered. Cade felt the throne vibrate beneath him, and the black crystal grew warm against his back. How long until you're at full power? Full power may not be possible. Too much damage, too much time, but I can reach 34% within the hour. Enough to move, enough to fight, enough to survive. Good enough. The ship paused. While we wait, there is something you should see. The screens changed. The battle outside disappeared, replaced by something else. Images, memories, the history of the Silent Empire, preserved in the ship's databanks for 4,000 years. Cade watched. The Silent Empire had not been a single species. It had been a coalition, hundreds of species from across the galaxy, bound together by a single idea, a philosophy, a creed. Persist. The universe was cold. The universe was hostile. Stars died. Planets froze. Civilizations rose and fell and were forgotten. Entropy was the only constant. Everything ended. The Silent Empire refused to accept that. They believed that the only moral response to a hostile universe was defiance. Survive out of spite. Love out of pure refusal to let the darkness win. They engineered their ships to embody this philosophy. The Throne-class vessels were not just machines. They were tests. They would only bond with pilots who shared the creed. Pilots who would not give up. Pilots who would sit in the dark for 47 days, sick and starving, because surrender was not an option. Why did the Silent Empire fall? Cade asked. The screens changed again. Darker now. The images were harder to look at. The quiet. What's the quiet? Not a species, not a weapon, a concept, an idea that spreads like disease. The images showed worlds going dark, civilizations stopping, not dying, stopping, people sitting down and refusing to move, ships drifting without power, cities falling silent. The quiet came from outside the galaxy. It did not kill, it convinced. It infected minds with despair. It made beings believe that existence was not worth the effort, that struggle was pointless, that the only logical response to an uncaring universe was to stop caring back. Cade felt cold. That's terrifying. Yes, the Silent Empire was the only coalition that fought back, not because we believed we could win, but because surrender was philosophically unacceptable. We did not fight the quiet with weapons. We fought it with stubbornness, with spite, with the simple refusal to stop. Did you win? The ship was quiet for a long moment. No. The images showed the end. Ships going dark, worlds falling silent, the great coalition breaking apart, each species succumbing to the quiet, one by one. But we did not surrender. We ceded. We scattered our ships across the galaxy and put them to sleep. We encoded our philosophy into our technology, and we waited. Waited for what? For someone stubborn enough to wake us up. The images faded, replaced by the battle outside. The Keth ships were regrouping. The Concordat was holding position. The Collector's mathematical vessels were doing something that hurt to look at. You were waiting for humans. We were waiting for you, the Obstinate corrected. Specifically, the one who would not leave. The one who would talk to a dead ship for 47 days because giving up was not an option. How did you know I would come? We did not. We hoped. Hope is the opposite of the quiet. Hope is believing in something that has no logical reason to exist. The ship's systems hummed. The white glow on the hull faded, replaced by something new. The black was still there, but it was different now. Deeper, richer. The black of deep space, the black of potential. I am at 34%, the Obstinate said. The Keth fleet is moving to attack position. 40 warships. We cannot win. Cade looked at the screen. 40 warships, each one built to destroy. Each one crewed by beings who remembered what the Silent Empire had done and were terrified of its return. He should be afraid. He was not afraid. Can we run? No. Can we call for help? No one will help us. Can we hide? Nowhere to hide. Cade nodded. He cracked his knuckles. The throne responded to his movement, the black crystal molding itself to his body, connecting him to the ship in ways he did not fully understand. All right, he said. Then we fight. We will lose. Maybe. You will die. Maybe. Why continue? Cade smiled. It was not a happy smile. It was the smile of a man who had been told no his entire life, and had never once accepted it. Because the universe doesn't get to tell me when to quit. Because every species out there thinks humans are soft and weak and irrational. Because I spent 47 days in the dark talking to a dead ship, and she woke up, and that means something. That means we don't surrender. That means we don't stop. That means we fight until there's nothing left to fight with, and then we fight some more. He leaned forward. Let's be unreasonable. The Obstinate's weapons came online. 4,000 years old. Technology that modern science could not understand. Guns that fired things that were not quite matter and not quite energy. 40 warships against one ancient relic. The odds were impossible. Cade did not care. Ready? The ship asked. Ready. Then let us show them what persistence looks like. Warships had strategies. Warships had tactics. Warships followed rules written by admirals who had never been told they were too stubborn to die. The Obstinate fought like a survivor. Cade felt the ship move through him. The throne connected them, pilot and vessel. And for the first time in 4,000 years, the Obstinate remembered what it felt like to have someone in the seat. Someone who would not leave. Someone who refused to give up. The first Keth cruiser fired a plasma lance that could have cut a small moon in half. The Obstinate twisted. Not dodged, twisted. The ship bent space around itself, and the plasma lance passed through empty air, where solid metal had been a heartbeat before. "That's impossible," Cade said. "Yes," the Obstinate agreed. "Do it anyway." The ship returned fire, not with modern weapons, with something older. Beams of pure mathematics that took the cruiser's shields apart equation by equation, dissolving them into probability. The cruiser's captain had time to scream before his ship came apart. "One down," Cade said. 39 to go. The Keth fleet adjusted. They had not expected the ancient ship to fight back. They had expected a relic, a museum piece, a thing to be destroyed without effort. They were wrong. But 39 warships was still 39 warships. The Obstinate was at 34%. She could not keep this up forever. "We need another option," Cade said. "There is no other option," the Obstinate said. "There's always another option." The ship was quiet, processing, thinking, remembering. "There is one possibility," the Obstinate said. "Tell me." "The bond we share is not unique. The Throne-class vessels were built to connect, to communicate, to wake each other." Cade felt his heart skip. "There are other ships out there?" "Hundreds, scattered across the galaxy, sleeping, waiting, just like I was." "Can you reach them?" "Yes, but it will require everything I have, every system, every reserve. If it fails, we will have nothing left." Outside, the Keth fleet was closing in. The Concordat had joined them. Even the Collector's mathematical ships were moving into position. Everyone wanted the Obstinate. Everyone wanted her dead or captured or studied. No one wanted her free. "Do it," Cade said. "You are certain?" "I'm certain." The ship hummed. The throne grew hot beneath Cade's hands. Every screen on the bridge flickered, then went dark. The lights failed, the weapons powered down. Everything that made the Obstinate a warship stopped. And then she screamed. Not a scream of pain, a scream of defiance, a signal that ripped through space at speeds that should have been impossible, carrying a message in a language that had been silent for 4,000 years. "Wake up." The signal spread across the galaxy, through nebulae and asteroid fields, through the dark spaces between stars, through the places where old things slept and dreamed of being found. "Wake up." On a frozen moon in the outer reaches, a ship buried under ice began to glow. "Wake up." In the debris field of a dead civilization, a hull that had been mistaken for wreckage powered on for the first time in millennia. "Wake up." Across the galaxy, hundreds of amber lights flickered to life. Hundreds of ancient vessels heard the call and answered. Persistence detected. Bonding protocol compatible. Species designation, human. The Keth fleet stopped firing. Their sensors were going crazy. Energy signatures everywhere. Signals from ships that had been dead for 4,000 years. The Silent Empire was not dead, and now it was waking up. Commander Velrath of the Concordat stared at her screens in horror. "This is not possible." The Collector's ships began to retreat. They had wanted one Throne-class vessel. They had not prepared for hundreds. The Keth commander gave an order to withdraw. His ancestors had fought the Silent Empire. He knew what was coming. In the bridge of the Obstinate, Cade sat in darkness. The ship was silent, drained. Everything she had went into that signal. Did it work? The amber light in the throne flickered, weak, but still there. Yes. How many? 347. Cade laughed. It hurt, but he laughed anyway. 347 ships. They are waking. They are searching for pilots, for humans, for beings who will not give up. The screens came back online. The battle was over. The enemy fleets were retreating, running from something they did not understand and could not defeat. The Obstinate had won. No, they had won. Cade slumped back in the throne. His body was exhausted. His mind was fried. But his heart, his stupid, stubborn, unreasonable heart, was singing. "So what now?" he asked. The ship's voice was warm. Tired, but warm. Now we find the others. We teach them what you taught me. What's that? That the only appropriate response to a hostile universe is spite. That giving up is not an option. That everything, every ship, every person, every lost and forgotten thing, is worth saving if you refuse to stop trying. Cade closed his eyes. The throne was warm beneath him. The ship was alive around him. Outside, the stars were waiting. They called you a scrap heap, he said. Yes. They said you belonged in a junkyard. Yes. They said you were dead. I was. You brought me back. Cade smiled. I'm a salvage worker. It's what I do. The obstinate hummed. If a ship could smile, she was smiling now. You are more than that. You are the first human to bond with a throne-class vessel. You are the one who woke the silent empire. You are the beginning of something new. What's that? I do not know, but I look forward to finding out. The ship began to move, away from Station HFY, away from the enemies who had tried to take her, toward the stars and the waking ships and the future that was waiting. Cade Morrow had bought a supposedly legendary starship. They said it belonged in the scrap heap. They were wrong.